Deborah, thank you. So we want to bring in Olga Tokariuk now. She is joining us from Ukraine. She's an independent journalist and a non-resident fellow at the Center for European Policy Analysis. Thank you so much for joining us again. It is very good to see you. So we are hearing now that the Ukrainian government is encouraging civilians to leave the eastern part of the country, saying that Russia is regrouping and they're going to set their sights on the eastern part of the country. But this is an area that has already been under siege. This is an area that I imagine the people that have not left yet have witnessed some incredible, dire attacks. How difficult is it going to be for these people in the east to make it all the way to the west where there's some relative safety?
Hello, Anne-Marie, and thank you for having me. In fact, the eastern part of Ukraine is also the most densely populated part of Ukraine. Millions of people live there. So even, from that point of view, it will be very difficult to evacuate a majority of those people. Also, the evacuation effort is very slow because it's dangerous to take people out of those regions. Well, of course, it depends on part of from which people are evacuated. But if we are speaking about Ukrainian-controlled parts of Donetsk and Luhansk regions, it's not easy actually to get there and to get people out of there. So the numbers of evacuated people every day, they are just like several thousands people every day, and this is a very low number if you consider that millions are living there. And what is also the most striking is that in recent days, today and yesterday, mayors of two big cities in eastern Ukraine that are not in Donbass, and I'm speaking about Kharkiv, and I'm speaking about Dnipro, the city in the east, an industrial center, which has not yet been subjected to heavy fighting. Of course, it was under Russian missiles, but not as destroyed and as targeted as Kharkiv and other parts. So mayors of these two major cities, they also advised civilians to evacuate, to leave these cities. So again, we will, if people listen to that and they will start evacuating, we're speaking about potentially, millions of people moving to Western Ukraine and maybe crossing the border further to the safety of the EU and NATO countries.
So what are you learning from your sources about perhaps Russia's strategy in moving troops into that region?
Well, it looks like Russia will attempt to occupy all territory of Donetsk and Luhansk regions because currently they control just a part of these regions. And also, some of the best and most experienced units of the Ukrainian armed forces are stationed there who are holding the line in Donbass. And Russia's goal seems to be to encircle them, to cut them off, and to destroy them. So that's what we can expect. And of course, they will not spare the civilian population. We've seen what happened in Mariupol, and this is happening. Similar things are happening in other parts of Donetsk and Luhansk region, especially in Luhansk region. Russians are shelling hospitals there. They are destroying residential blocks. They are cutting off entire towns from electricity supply and from water and food supply. We can expect a military offensive, but combined with a heavy, attack on civilian population as well.
Since Russia has retreated from some areas, we are hearing and seeing more and more what many people are saying is evidence of war crimes. What have you been hearing when it comes to allegations of rape, execution, torture?
Yeah, every day more and more harrowing stories emerge from people who survived these massacres, who've seen their neighbors being slaughtered, who've seen, women and children being raped. And this was not only happening in Bucha. Well, all eyes are on Bucha because, the images from Bucha were so shocking. But this was happening in other towns of Kyiv region, in Borodyanka, in Hostomel, in Irpin, and also in Sumy, in Chernihiv regions. These are northern regions of Ukraine that have been liberated by the Ukrainian army a week ago, a little bit more. As people manage to leave these areas to get to the relative safety of Western Ukraine or to move abroad, they are telling their stories, they are telling what they've seen, and we start understanding the scale of this disaster, the scale of this basically genocide of Ukrainians by Russian troops.
Olga, the images and the reporting that you have for our viewers is, I think, for so many people, so shocking because, as you say, we've certainly seen the images of Bucha, but as you've reported and others, that these atrocities are happening all across Ukraine. Thank you for bringing light to this subject. We are very appreciative, and we'll speak to you hopefully very soon again.
Thank you.